this is Jamie Menagerie. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. And it's the card using that little deer that I made in the previous video. So let's get started and show you what we're going to need. First off, we're going to be using the Brick and Mortar 3D embossing folder. The dies from Poinsetta dies. A sentiment from Itty Bitty Christmas, and then of course we use the Menagerie mix-up to make the reindeer. For consumables, I've got my little reindeer that I've already made. I'm going to put him aside here. I've got a scratch paper of gold foil. I have a scrap of real red, and this is 2.5 by 3 3/4 or approximately. I have a scrap of garden green, and it's just a scrap. I need to cut 3 leaves out of it. I have a 3/4 inch strip of Whisper White, and this is about 4 1/4 inches, but we're going to cut it off, so that's for a sentiment. I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White that I've run through that Brick and Mortar embossing folder. And then I have my card base, which is thick, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. I'm going to go ahead, oh no, I need to leave it separate. Okay. I'm also going to be using this die, which is from Tasteful Labels, and I've out of the red piece, I've die cut this label. Okay. Then I'm using these 2, well, it's actually 4 die pieces from the poinsettia dies. I've taken a Post-it note, and I've taken and lined up the 2 pieces. Taken the Post-it note and stuck it on the back, so that I have those where I want them centered. And then I ran it through. I have 1 of the large poinsettia holly leaves, or poinsettia leaves, and 2 of the small ones. So those are those pieces. This die came out of that same poinsettia set, and I ran that through with gold embossing on gold paper. And then I just took my snips, oops, where'd it go? And snipped this bottom little piece off. I'm also probably going to take this stem off. Okay, then I have this little tiny bow. To be perfectly honest, I can't remember what set it came out of, but I die cut a little gold bow to go on the front of my reindeer. If I can pick it up, that would be lovely. Okay, I'm going to put these aside so I don't lose them, as I've already die cut all the pieces. So the only stamping is going to be the sentiment, and I'm using Peace and Happiness, and that is from Itty Bitty Christmas, right here. Okay, so let's stamp that with the Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp it about 1 inch from the end, or somewhere in that vicinity. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it right there. Okay. Put that aside. Move all these out of the way because we're done with those. Okay, let's just assemble the card. Oops, I forgot to bring in the... I left that one in my basket. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is adhere the deer to this red die cut piece. You notice the feet hang off, so we're just going to put a little bit of adhesive on this part here, and a dimensional on the back of his head. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue there. I'll bring in a dimensional. I'm going to add one dimensional right there at the top of his head. Okay, and that's going to go down here. I try to center it right about there. So his antlers are sort of centered in his head is centered in the top of it. Like that, okay? Now I'm going to bring in these. The two small ones are going to go on the side of him. So I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on the bottom of the leaf. And I'm going to tuck it in here underneath him. And take the other small one. Well, actually, let's do the large one. I'll do this one here, and I'm going to do the large one at the bottom, or right here. Do it this way. Okay, then the other little one is slid. Sun slide. There we go. And this one will go on this side. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, now I'm going to take this gold piece and put a little bit of glue on the back of a couple of these spots and down here at the base. I'm going to tuck that in underneath here, like that. And this one, I'm definitely going to snip off that little tail. I'm having trouble picking things up today. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this. I'll bring in my tweezers. I'll tuck this one in over here under this side of him. Okay. Now I'm going to mount this to this piece. I'm going to just use my wet glue. And I want it pretty much centered in the center of this card. Okay. And I'm going to take my sentiment. I'm going to put some glue on the back of it. Not all the way to this end because I'm going to cut some of it off. I'm going to tuck it under this poinsettia or holly leaf. Put that underneath the deer so it looks like he's sitting on it. I'm going to adhere it down. And then I'm going to turn this over and snip off this extra. Bring in my glue. Adhere that to the front of my card. And that is my card. It's the one we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. Oh, I forgot to put his bow on. Let's use a glue dot. Actually, let's just use the same glue we used. A little glue in the center of it. And that's going to just go right here under his chin. There we go. That finishes it nicely. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.